Hello, and welcome to the video. So, I'm going to talk about Skate and my thoughts on it, which are a little different from, you know, other people's, obviously, because it's gotten a lot of, bad rap, I guess, if you will. For obvious reasons, I'm not going to say that the points aren't valid, obviously. Um, So I grew up like everybody else playing Tony Hawk and other niche skating games. Um, forget Grind Sessions. I think was another one with Day One Song in it. Um, MTV Sports with Andy McDonald, which wasn't very good, but I enjoyed the parks that were in it. Um, but it was very stiff. So you know, then came Skate. And it was a much different feel um, than what you're used to with Tony Hawk, right? And it blew me away. I kind of started with Skate 2 because Skate 1 had already kind of come and gone by the time I got into that one, but and then it evolved into Skate 3. And honestly, Skate 3, I played it for years. I beat it multiple times because at the time, they weren't going to give us another one, and people begged EA in almost every freaking game post they did would be hey, release Skate 4, release Skate 4, and they didn't want to give in, but they finally did, and so here we are now, and this is pre-alpha that's playing in the background here. A couple of days before it actually drops for everyone. But like I said, they took the watermarks off, so I can actually talk about it now. So I'm just gonna let that run in the background. But the game overall is I feel it's a different version of Skate, but I think it's fun. I think it's fun. The gameplay is fun. It does have its qualms. Okay, so there is no offline mode, and it sucks. But outside of that, there are the micros, and I mean, I'm not gonna, BS you about that. I mean, they're there, but you don't have to purchase them. There's loot boxes, but those are done with in-game cash that you earn from doing challenges. So it is a very grindy type game. Use the pun loosely because it's skateboarding, grinding. Anyway, but it's fun, and like I enjoy the city. I enjoy skating around it. Like for me, I don't need a huge story mode like other people do. And I mean, if that's your thing, that you need a story to go with this, and you need a bunch of pros, you're probably going to come into it very, very disappointed. I won't lie to you about that, because there really isn't much except for this stupid robot named V, and as me and many other of the playtesters, I think, in our feedback, we kind of said that get rid of that because she's annoying, very annoying, and the dialogue they give her is the stupidest stuff. It's just like she gives you facts and stuff throughout the city, and they're really dumb. It doesn't make just like filler. Now the devs have said that they plan to do seasons and a battle pass, I guess, on top of that because it's free to play. So that's whatever. But within the seasons, they plan to switch out different music, and also they're gonna add the pros. Sorry, the pros will be like a seasonal thing, like seasonal challenges, right? You might run into them on the street or something, and they have some kind of special challenges there for that season or whatever, for a limited time or whatever. So that's how they're gonna do that, I guess. It's, you know, you skate around.
Good luck
and
owning this one.
You know, these little challenges and stuff. Now, I do wish that they would up the how much in-game currency you earn for doing these, and I think the reason it's low is because right now they only have so many of the loot box things that you can open and for the free stuff, you know. So that might be why they don't want people to rush through that and then be like, okay, well, what do I unlock now? But for me, see, I skated when I was a teenager. I wasn't very good at it, but I enjoyed doing it. Just even riding around on the board, I just enjoyed it. And it was very freeing. And so for me, coming into any of these games, whether it be Sessions or Skater XL, I've played them all. For me, it's just riding around, you know, putting on Spotify, listening to my own music, seeing what sick tricks I can do, and just, drop a rail here, drop a ramp there, and try to bust out some cool tricks, and for me, that's enough. Like, it's, but for other people, I could understand why you would be disappointed, because it's like, well, this is very different from how the other ones approached this. Now, one of the other things I want to talk about is the fact that people are upset over that it's not some kind of like Unreal 5 type graphics. No, they decided to stay with the cartoony feel that the other ones had, that really, 2 and 3. I don't understand why that's a problem for people. Yeah, okay, it doesn't look like, some super graphic overhaul, but I don't think with Skate you really needed that. Like, I think they were trying to just keep it, like grounded, like what the others looked like, So it's that, for me, it looks kind of similar to those. I don't see why there's so much backlash of that particular aspect. I mean, yeah, you could do all that, I guess, but I don't think it needs it. It's still a video game at the end of the day. But yeah, I mean, there isn't a lot to the game, and I'll be upfront about that. You're gonna skate around, you're gonna grind, very heavily for points and stuff. So if that's not your thing, then you're probably not gonna enjoy this. But at the same time, for me, like I said, it's just skating around. It's listening to my favorite songs. It's just seeing what sick trick I can pull out, just like a real skater, right? Because when you're skateboarding, you're going around cities and you see a rail and you go, oh, dude, I want to bust this, 360 flip, into a grind down the rail, and you just go and you try to do it until you land it. And that's kind of where I think they were going with this. I mean, yes, I'm not going to lie and say that they didn't want to just make this a transactions mess, because it's obvious, they're out to make money here. I'm not gonna lie to you about that. They are, but like I said, you don't have to make those purchases in game. If you just want to skate around, then yeah, you know, it sucks that, you know, we can't just, everything can't be just unlocked by playing, but, um, you know, like I said, at least you don't have to pay 60 or 70 bucks or whatever for the game itself. Now, you could argue, yeah, I'd rather do that and then, you know, have story mode and all this, but with skateboarding, there's only so many stories you can really, I think, tell, because it's skateboarding, you know? At the end of the day, you're going out, you're doing tricks. I mean, how many times can you do some kind of thing where it's like, oh, I gotta get on this board company, I gotta sell all these boards, and, you know, all that stuff. How many times can you do it? It's been done, you know? And then you, on the other coin, you have Tony Hawk that does all this, you know, goofy stuff. But you're equally as fun in its own right. So, they're very different style skate games, both equally fun. That said, you know, there's another cool feature in this too, where you can basically, like, if you see these little sound blips that show up when you're skating around, you can steal songs and then skate around to them. So I thought that was a kind of a unique feature. That's kind of cool. And even though it's still cartoony, I still liked how they add little details that, you know, like the shoelaces moving, right? That may not be a huge thing, obviously, and people are going, why does he care about the shoelaces? Well, because back in the older games, shoelaces and stuff didn't really move. They were just stationary, right? Same thing with the hair in this game. The hair moves when you're, you know, riding around. The wind is blowing your hair. And I think that was a cool feature, even though it's not, you know, it's a very, very, very minor thing. I thought it was a nice touch because it, you know, some of the older games didn't have that. You know, like I said, the shoelaces were stationary. The hair didn't really move. You know, it was just there. So there are those things. I think the open world that they have created here is very nice. Some of those color palettes, like when they splash paint on the fucking, you know, vert ramps and stuff, don't think that was necessary, but beyond that, it's fun. Hollow Meat is kind of back. It's different. It's not trying to break bones in this one, but it's kind of there, where there's these challenges where you'll have to, like, you know, jump off a building, spread eagle, and then try to hit a, you know, a railing or jump into a dumpster or something like that, you know? So it does have that goofiness. It's still there, just different. Because I've seen some people saying, well, Hollow Meat's gone or whatever. It isn't gone totally, it's just different. The object isn't to see how many bones you can break, it's just, you know, dive off a building and into a trash can or something goofy. You know. So there are those things as well. Now, not sure what else they, you know, fully plan to add. I know I gave some feedback, as well as many other people did. Whether they take those, you know, things, I don't know. I suggested, you know, boards being able to be broken if the impact is heavy enough. And, you know, you could either, you know, just hit triangle and get a generic board like you do in Sessions, or, you know, you go to the little skate shop that's in the game or whatever and go purchase one with in-game money, you know, so you have that either option. So people, you know, may not want to go all the way to the skate park to buy a new board every time it breaks. So there's that. And things like that. I think a weather system would be nice. Like, I mean, I get, you're not gonna wanna, skaters don't usually skate in the rain and stuff, but like, you know, maybe there'd be wear and tear on the board, right? If you decide, because some skaters will still try to skate in the rain, or, you know, but it will ruin your board ultimately. If you've ever skated, then you know that it will ruin your board. Um, so to have that option, or if it starts raining in the game, maybe then you go to a skate park or whatever. However, right now it's mostly all outdoor parks in the game, so that would be something maybe later on where you have to go and go up to a door with the skate park and you push triangle or something, I don't know, and it goes inside. Because they did have some of those, I think, in the I think it was 3. They had some of those where like they had the Zero Park or something like that. So that's just something I personally would think would be kind of cool, because I mean it's not going to be sunny 24/7 every freaking day. So I just love realism and stuff. So that was one of the points I made. Doubt they'll ever add that one, but still, it was one of them. But even just something like the board's breaking, or paint wearing off the board. So I know Sessions did that, where the more you're skating it, the paint wears off of your board. So things like that. There are some features I miss with the older skate games. Like, I thought it was kind of cool how in the second one you kind of had to break off the anti-skate things, So it would be kind of cool if like maybe you had like a thing where, if you see them or whatever, you had like a triangle button and your character pulls out a crowbar or something and pulls them off or something like that. Just things like that. Because skaters have done those. They sand them down and other crap they aren't really supposed to do, but they do. Let's be real. But yeah, ultimately, I think the game, it doesn't have a ton right now, but again, this is just going into the alpha for everyone, so I think it's going to keep growing as it goes, and I'd love to see it go places, but I don't think it's the worst thing ever. And I'm just seeing a lot of people saying, "Oh, it's soulless, it's no fun, it's bad, they just ruined it, blah blah blah." No, it's a very different beast. Yeah, it's a different skate than we're used to, for sure. And yes, it is very focused on getting our cash, for sure. But I think fun can be had in it. And even just, getting with your buddies, right, and just skating around a spot or something like that, I think can be a lot of fun. Or trying to do challenges together, like see who can do the line the best or get the most points or things like that. Another thing I would like to see them add is like community competitions, where you and several other players at a certain time or whatever, you have to compete. Each person goes one at a time, like they would in a real competition, and you knock out tricks, and whoever gets the highest thing maybe gets some more in-game currency or whatever, more than you would get from the grindy type spots that they have around, where you have to do a kickflip, do this over that, grind this ledge kind of thing. I think that would be kind of cool, and I think a lot of fun for skaters. So there's a lot of things that they can add, but I just kind of wanted to give this a different perspective, because I don't think it's fair to just say this is completely garbage and stuff. There's fun that can be had, but it's more if you just want to ride around, more or less. Like, I don't need a story. I don't need pros. I just want to skate around because I used to do that as a kid, and just like that, to me, that's where the fun is. It's just seeing what I can do a trick off of, what I can do this off of, you know. And I also plan to make like little skate clips that are, of the best stuff that I do in game, and just like make almost like little skate scenes to movies, like you would out of a skate video, but but with the game, to some music and stuff like that. But yeah, I just wanted to give a different take on this, because I just see so many people just saying it's bad, it's bad, it's bad, it's bad. And yeah, it's different. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's different. There are glitches, there are some wonky things with it, but I think you can have some fun with it if you set your expectations the right way, like just go into it knowing that these are things, and if you do that, don't go looking for a story, don't really do that. It's just you just go and you just skate around. It's just skate and have fun, try to do some spots with your buddies, things like that. I think you can have a lot of fun with it. So I mean, I'm not crapping on anybody else's takes on it. I get it, and they're not wrong, in anything that they've said, So I mean, at worst, I could say give it a try. What do you get to lose, right? It's free to play. So give it a try. Make your own decisions. I'll probably leave you there, because I said pretty much about everything I could say, but I just wanted to take the time to just give a different perspective, because I don't think it's all bad. I think you can have some fun. You just have to kind of accept that this is a different version of Skate. It's not Skate 4. It's a different version of Skate than we're used to. And leave it at that. Like and subscribe if you want. I hope you enjoyed the video. Just doing it for fun, really. It's whatever. I just wanted to do it because I'm passionate about skateboarding and skateboarding culture, and just wanted to give a different take instead of the same old negative, what everybody else is saying. Alright? Thanks for watching. Bye.